diffuse the situation. No yelling back and forth, no nothing. I think one of the people has to be calm. That's what I learned. One of you got to be chill, and that's when you're co-parenting. One of you got to be chill. Somebody has to be the zen because somebody's gonna be the firecracker. There's always gonna be a firecracker. It can't be too zen. Yeah, yeah. I know. I could feel it. I could
I
tell you're a
just,
firecracker.
I just want Terry to know he has like a full microphone right now to totally tell me exactly what he sees. So he gave me a compliment at first about how he can hear me smiling, but he could tell I'm a firecracker, and I love it. I love it here. This is okay.
What's
Absolutely.
your sign? What's your
Oh,
sign?
George Jesus Christ. I'm a Scorpio.
Oh God. Yo,
Very transparently off the bat, I want to check this question off. Do you think that pursuing your dreams has become something that's overrated?
I don't think it's overrated. I think some of us are chosen to be something special to the universe. We all
Okay.
have a special message. I didn't choose comedy. I always felt comedy chose me. I've always been in love with music, and the music part I would do like comedy parodies and stuff, which got me like notoriety early on. When
Mm,
there's that Idris Elba speech where Idris is, and I made fun of it, but I love Idris. And he's like, yo, they tell me to stay in my lane, but I don't want to stay in my lane. So,
I stand Idris. Let's not even go there. No,
yeah.
one more balancing act of yours. Because you're such a stand-up guy here. Um, how has comedy and music helped you and impacted your connections with your family and with friends?
Whew. Man, this is rough. Let
Oh,
me
is
think.
it? Oh,
Yeah. So there's so many impacts. When I first started comedy, there was like a big reason why I started comedy.
hmm,
And that kind of touches on what I talked about in that essay that I know you wanted to bring up.
yeah.
But I had a lot of issues as a child,
Hmm.
and I had a lot of trauma where I felt like I was hated by everybody.
Mm.
And because of that, I started becoming funny because that's when people liked. And then I started becoming funny on stage. And then I started getting really good at it. And then I started being funny in front of audiences of 400 to 12, 1500, whatever it is. And being in those because I didn't realize how much self hatred was involved in why I was doing entertainment. And that goes back to what I was saying, don't fuel the ego, because I was fueling the ego. And then I'm like, why don't people like me, having these Kanye moments? Why don't you love me? Why don't you this? I'm working hard. I'm doing this.
Right.
And you get caught up in the wrong reasons. It definitely, my friendships, I started realizing how many people I could and couldn't hang with. Like, you start realizing that you are the only one taking things serious. And when you start getting friends involved, it doesn't always mean it's good for business. So like, you see these musicians with like 80 first.
It's here. Right, there you go. Absolutely.
That's what matters. And they've helped heal me because it's healthy to know, okay, like, I can build a healthy relationship with um females.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be something where they hate me or I
Hmm.
feel like I'm always like getting harmed or whatever it is in these relationships with people.
Hmm.
Like, I'm building something. So they were the key to that.
So amazing. Honestly, it's so amazing because and let's not go too far. I want to add to what you just said too, right? It's like
Yeah.
when you think about, they take it out on, the little people, right? They're little people, the people
Yeah.
they create when they've gone through some form of trauma. Let's not go too far. And I'm
Yeah.
going to feel totally comfortable because here we get comfortable being uncomfortable. I'm going to call it out. When you are a parent who takes it out on your
Mhm.
child because you are at odds with their father or with their mother, when you,
Mhm.
I, 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 I knew kids growing up who would say, my so and so hates me because they say I look like my dad or I look like my
Ah,
mom.
yes.
And I remember growing up hearing that, my parents are still together, 40
Yeah.
something years. Like, so me
Amen.
being the first, amen to that, me being the first one to be divorced, that was a hit in this culture, in
Isn't
this
that rough?
family. It is.
Yeah.
It is. My mom and I have come a very long way, and so have I with my father too. There's a lot of hurt that I caused my dad and my mom. I will admit that. I,
Hmm.
I actually shared it on a forgiveness story on the Forgiven podcast.
Yeah.
I was very transparent on where
Which was great.
thank you. Just a moment of disrespect. Yeah, at the same token, right?
Hmm.
We've talked about it years later, but my mom, I remember one time, and listen, no shade to my mom because I love my mom and I will fuck anybody up for my mom, right?
Yeah.
But my mom did say one time that my divorce made her bow her head down in front of society because
Mm.
it embarrassed her that I was divorced. And
Wow.
it took a lot of conversations. It took a lot of understanding because I had to then understand a little bit like our culture over there where we're from in our country in Ecuador. It's you don't get divorced, right? Like you have to stay married.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so there's just so much of that I, there's no way my mom would be able to just from one day to the next break away from. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
had to
Absolutely.
see 14 years later how I am as a single mom, right? And now it's like you have to hurry up, like you have to get married again, you have to have another child, like you're a good mother, like you're now it's a different level of a
Yeah.
vision for her and of respect. And she'll sometimes say, I'm gonna get emotional. Oh, she'll sometimes say, you're very strong because you walked away from a marriage that no longer suit you and you've done it
Mm.
on your own.
Yeah.
And I always tell her, I think you're stronger because you've had 4 kids and you sustained a marriage of 40 something years, and it's far from perfect, but they're great together
Absolutely.
though. And I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.